From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
It certainly is. This is RTI, Radio Tatras International, with Postcard from Poprad, and hopefully at least this bit's working. Oh, it is his coughing. It's his age, you know, dear. He can't help it. He's just getting on a bit. It's Mr. Banks.
I'm not very well. You can take the mickey, but I'm very, 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 very poorly.
You're very poorly?
You can't laugh at me for being ill.
I can. Dave's watching online, and he can see my mug.
Eric the mug.
Not the ugly mug, but the mug. And he says, you should start a coffee mug of the week feature, because on screen I've got my new coffee mug. Listen. There it is for the listeners. And it says on it, Eric the Epic.
You should say Eric the mug.
Eric the mug. Anyway, how are you?
I'm not well.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. You know, like you have your wine club in Poprad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a wine club in my house, and things just got out of hand.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so I'm not very well, and I've got alcoholic remorse and everything. I'm never ever going to drink again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, do not drink the evil vine.
It's not good for you, Leigh.
It's kept me going for a few decades.
I'll tell you what, the interweb is really being naughty today, isn't it?
It is. Are we going to say what's happened in that Oz place?
Yes.
Well, I've just been doing some rapid journalistic research into what's happened, and virtually the whole of Australia has lost its internet connection. That is amazing.
There's also connectivity problems with America at the minute, so apologies to anybody listening via you now. We have got it back up again. If it really struggles, go over to Vaughan Live, because we're on there as well, and that's a different part of Europe that that's fed from. Or you can also go to TuneIn, of course, which I'm looking across at the screen. And is that working? Yes, that's working fine. So you can always pop over to TuneIn as well, if you can't, if we drop off of you now again as well. But there's certainly some connectivity problems today. Weird.
It's very strange. Do we not want to know what's happened in Australia? That the whole of Australia has lost its internet connection. It's gone back 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, what's happened is this. They've had a fire at the Telstra depot or whatever it is in Sydney. It went up in flames. Now, what that's done is actually killed off virtually internet connections all over the country. This is like it's gone into a third world war. It's just cut off from the world. They can get...
No, that explains it.
What?
Well, you see...
no, Rachel.
TuneIn is working, yes. Thank you, Dave. The issue with these sort of... In the UK, they're actually called telehouse. There's one in London, there's one up in Liverpool. And telehouses, which were their old name. And the trouble is, once one of these big, like, double plugs, I'll do it in layman's terms for you, it's like a six-way, not a two-way. When one of these six-ways go... The trouble is, everything that's routed through there goes as well. So then it has to find another way to get around the planet. Everybody's... people are watching on you now and listening on TuneIn at the moment. That's quite fun.
Excuse me?
What?
He's not listening, is he, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else? It's gone up in flames. It's the exchange has gone up in flames in Sydney. Big flames.
But I'm explaining why other bits of the internet are also affected by that.
It's plug. You don't plug it into the wall. This is proper fire.
Right. I was trying to help you.
That's all right. It's the Chatswood Exchange in Sydney. And Telstra say that our techs are on site and completing a full assessment. We'll provide more info as soon as it's available. Thanks for your patience. Now, how are they going to tell everybody if the internet's out? Because that's on the internet.
Well, not necessarily.
It is. It's saying in front of me.
No, not necessarily.
Go on then.
Right. Now, if the internet goes off here and causes a problem, and I can see the routing struggling across to America, if the internet goes off actually in Poprad, we've got a dongle. There's nothing like having a dongle. We have a dongle.
Rub the cameras on.
Yeah.
You'll get your dongle out while you've got your mug on.
And you plug the dongle in, and that actually works off the mobile telephone network, which is different to the fixed network. And actually,
Australia's massive. You couldn't run the whole of Australia on a dongle.
But they have different dongles for different areas.
So no, come on, Australia, that's all you've got to do, even though you can't hear me because you've got no internet. Get your dongles out, stick them in, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, get your dongles out in your dingles, no, never mind. Anyway, so
that's a Dingley Dell.
Yeah, in your Dingley Dell. And our actual interweb on the mobile network comes from Bratislava, which is about 3 hours away, and lots of kilometres away, which I don't know. And so we get round it that way. So we've got various routings that we can take. But what happens is if one little bit of the internet goes down or catches on fire, then the rest of the internet struggles because that bit is missing.
So that's the problem in Australia is actually creating the problems in America.
In other parts of the world, yeah.
So the whole of the world could collapse. Mr. Trump will be so happy.
No, it won't. The whole world won't collapse because eventually it will all catch up with each other. And
put the fire out and stick the plug back in.
Well, what they will be able to do is route via different routings into different POP3 zones, and then everything will be marvellous again.
Can I just say, ladies and gentlemen...
You understood not one word of that.
No, mine's far more interesting than it is, isn't it? I'm saying that Australia's on fire and they've been wiped out, the whole of the internet connection across the world. Perth's gone, everywhere's gone. And he said, well, if you get your dongle out, you'll be all right.
Well, if you think about it, it's telling you the internet's out, right?
Yeah, but they're telling people on the internet they can't get the internet because it's on fire.
No, because if you've got a mobile phone connection and that's still working, then you can get on the internet via the mobile phone.
But that has a fatal flaw in as well, which I am in a position to report on.
Go on then.
Our glorious Rachel was actually going to join us on the show, despite the fact the internet has crashed and is in flames, by using the phone belonging to a school friend of theirs who is staying at the moment.
Right.
Problem is, the school friend who's staying with them at the moment has got out and taken the phone with her.
Well, that's kind of ruined that then, isn't it?
It is a bit of a blow, that, Rachel, yes.
What are you like? So tell us...
I didn't do it. I didn't set it on fire. Australia set it on fire.
Well, tell us what the rest of it says.
Well, you're interested now. Right, I'm just having a look. Right, this is the official statement on the internet when the internet's on fire and you can't read it, right?
Mm-hmm.
A fire at the Chatswood Exchange in Sydney this afternoon has been contained. Yeah, it's been contained inside your plug hole. But damage has been caused to some power infrastructure. As a result, a number of customers are experiencing loss of service. What a load of rubbish. Some customers. It's out in Sydney, it's out in Canberra, it's out in Perth, it's out in Brisbane, it's out in Melbourne, and it's out in the whole of South Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Jetstar Airways said the outage has caused delays at 9 of their flights. Everything's collapsing. You see, that's the problem with the internet, isn't it? Everything's based on the internet, and once it goes up in flames, the world collapses.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, it just said it. They can't even fly planes anymore. Good job Harrison Ford's not there, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there is that to it, but I'm getting you to pad for me.
I'm padding for me as well.
You're padding well for me, because what I'm doing at the moment is
I'm fixing the internet.
I'm routing.
Yes.
I'm routing in a different direction.
Are you, dear Key? I'm rooting for you too.
Well, that's very kind of you. And hopefully, if I've routed that right,
Yes.
then with a bit of luck, there's people watching already. We should be back on you now. This is the second week we've had technical problems.
Why? What technical problems did we have the other week?
Oh, no, it's the week before last, wasn't it, when Skype crashed?
See, you've got to get your facts right, Mr. Eric.
Are you being
That
Donald
Mr. Trump will be all over you if you
I was
don't.
going to say, are you being Mr. Trump now?
I'm not being Mr. Trump. No, I'm not being Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump's. I've got to say it. I might be put in jail and taken to the Tower of
No, I'll
Things.
tell you what, boys and girls, you should have heard the conversation the other day.
Which one?
The one where you were trumping all the time.
I know, Trump.
It was a huge one.
It was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. In fact, it was that big, I fell over.
Well, I was going to go on the news feeds and see if there was, a jet taking off somewhere.
I know. In German, right? In German, travel is Ausfahrt. And by George, was I travelling then.
You were, weren't you?
Gosh almighty. I could have saved Australia at that moment. If that Australia had gone on fire while I was there, I could have blown it out.
I think you would have done. What was that bloke's name who used to do that with the oil fields? Red Adair.
What, he used to do it with a Trump?
Well, he used to blow them up with dynamite, didn't he? Which is kind of an explosive, which is kind of what a Trump is.
Well, it's not exactly, is it? Honestly.
No. But I think we can rest assured now that Dr. Eric, the technical, has managed to reroute. So I've been routing. It's nothing like having a route at lunchtime. I was having a route, and I think we're now stable again.
Are we still padding?
No, we're not padding anymore. We can carry on now. It's all fine. But actually, that does bring me on to one subject. You'll never believe it. Last night,
What?
as I was going home, this man kept on saying that Captain, there's an email in. Captain, there's an email in. Captain, there's an email in. What the flipping heck's going on? And then I got a message from Dave saying, hacked. Hacked. And I looked at our Twitter feed, and it had been hacked.
Who'd hacked it?
Well, I can't say it really was somebody in Saudi Arabia because they might not be. But they'd hacked RTI and hacked Eric for some reason.
Yeah.
And the daft thing was, do you know what they were using to hack me?
An axe.
No, a ruddy iPhone.
A ruddy iPhone?
Yes. Well, anybody who knows me would know that I'd never have a ruddy iPhone. So I did speak to Mrs. Twitter and Mrs. Google and various others last night and got it all back to sanity today. But it is weird how you're slightly right, where it galls me to say it, where you are slightly right, because the interweb does have things going on that you know can cause problems. It can.
It certainly can. I know I went to the doctors recently.
No, you're not going to blame the internet for the doctors now, are you?
No, well, it's loosely attached to that, but not quite. I went to the doctor and I said, I've got very bad wind, doctor. And he said, rectum. I said, rectum. I nearly blew him off.
I can't tell you the joke. I can't tell you the joke I was told this morning. It's too rude. Anyway,
I wouldn't laugh at it. If you did laugh at mine, you can get lost.
Well, there you go. There was a tumbleweed moment. A helicopter crash has killed
It's the opposite end, actually.
Yeah, an SAS bloke in New Zealand. Hello, Jamie. You're back with us as well. Oh,
hello, Jamie.
This
is a sad story, isn't it?
Do I get? You've got a fire guest to drop on the air.
Hey,
Jamie, I don't get that.
We don't get that, Jamie.
Jamie's just written. Seriously, this is the exact words. Yo. I got the fire guest to drop on air.
That's very interesting, Jeremy. What does he mean?
I drop bars on air. Oh, okay. Yeah, I really understand that.
Yeah, we both understand that. It's erudite and very, very interesting.
You have to excuse us, Jamie, because we're both very old.
We're both well, he's very old. I make up the both.
Anyway, there's been a helicopter crash in New Zealand, which sadly has killed an SAS war hero, which is not nice. That was down in Christchurch. He was actually fighting the fires down there, pouring water onto the flames, which were covering around the city. I will get Mike on air for you if that's okay. No, we don't do that, Jamie. We can't let you do that, I'm afraid, because... Just guess me. No, I can't do that, Jamie. It's not allowed. Jamie was going to join us on air, but I'm afraid we can't do that, Jamie. There's lots of rules that we can't just do that. It's very strange, very complicated. Maybe, I'll tell you what, Dave Rhodes is there. He will write you a little message, Jamie, about Ofcom. And they're the people that control what we can put on air. And so we have to be incredibly careful.
What did he want to put on air?
Jamie wanted to join us. Yes, he wanted to join us. But
is he scary?
I don't know. I'm sure he's lovely.
Well, we think you're lovely, but we don't understand what you're talking about, so you can't come on air.
No, not on air on a UK radio station. It's a bit touchy, mate. I just want to. Jamie just wants to rap for us. Jamie, if you're good at rapping, why don't
Send me a present?
No. If you're good at rapping, record it, Jamie. All right. So you record the rap, stick it on and save it as an MP3, and send it to studio. Send it to studio at rti.fm.
And then he'll send it to me.
And then if we like it, Jamie, we'll play it. And Jamie's from the UK as well, by the way.
Oh, that's nice, Jamie. That's why.
Whereabouts in the UK are you, Jamie? Write and tell me, because I don't know. Don't know how to. I'm not good at that. Oh, we'll get somebody from a school, mate. Yeah, are you from Essex? Jamie's from Essex.
Yes, that's why you don't know how to use.
Oh, good old Jamie.
Yeah, Essex girls.
There you go. We've now got London talking to Essex on the chat room via a studio based in Slovakia. That's good.
I thought London was in Essex.
No, stop it. Sad news this week. The amazing singer Al Jarreau has died at the age of 76. He got probably the most fame from Moonlighting, which was a TV series which I was passionately in love with in the 1980s.
I never really watched that.
What, you didn't watch Sybil Shepherd?
No, I didn't. I never really got on with it. You got to remember, because I was on daily newspapers, I worked nights, and we didn't have all the technology for recording and things. You know what I used to do? I used to just put me video recorder on, I'd shut my eyes, press a station, put the video recorder on. It was on for 10 hours, and then I'd come back and watch it. But it was really exciting because I never, ever knew what I was going to get.
I was in love with Sybil Shepherd.
Did you ever meet her?
No.
Then it was just a fantasy.
It was. I'm afraid it was a fantasy. But anyway, Moonlighting was one thing. And Al Jarreau was actually guilty for... Get this was in the middle 80s, right?
He was guilty?
He was guilty of this. In the middle 80s is when the CD player first came out. And the Sony 101 was the first one that was available. In 1980s, remember, 1980s, the cost of the CD player...
20 quid.
£700.
700 quid?
£700. So I bought the CD player at £700.
You did?
Yes, on a credit card. And then I had to drive to London from Luton to actually buy some CDs to play on it.
They didn't have any CDs in Luton?
No, they had one CD as a demo in the shop.
What was that?
I don't remember now, because I honestly can't. But I drove all the way to London, to central London, because you could drive into the middle of central London the other day. Yeah, thanks, Dave. And you would literally go in there, and the first album I got was actually Al Jarreau.
Was he indeed? So we did actually have a point to that. He was known as the acrobat of scat, you know.
He was brilliant. I mean, if you take Up on the Roof, what an amazing... The jazz vocals that he does are sounding like you. Who is?
Yes, you are. Listen, you're going to have to fill for me for a minute now.
Are you going for a wee?
No, I'm going to. My machine's just indicated that it's going to run out of power because, like a silly Billy, I didn't check before we went on air. So I'm just going to plug it in, dear. Don't let anybody know.
I won't tell anyone. Don't worry, your secret is safe with me. Absolutely safe with me. Hello, Anab.
What secret is that?
Anab 12 is watching as well. A boy was crushed to death in Topshop, and they've not kind of worked out what's happened yet. But Topshop have been removing all these different bits and pieces around their shops, actually, and they've ripped all these sort of stall things out because they really don't know what happened. And the trouble with these sort of displays that you have in shops is they are very, very heavy. And the trouble with 10-year-olds is they tend to climb up things. And if they overbalance and pull the display down, it can do serious damage, as was the case in this one, where young Caden died after the display falls on top of him. So to mummies and daddies, be careful.
It's Reading in Berkshire.
Yeah, please be careful. And you go into any shops, it's very tempting to let the youngster... what's that? Cut and do. I have no idea what that means.
They're going to take all the displays out of 300 shops because of this. This is
it's a serious thing.
God, yeah, a 10-year-old boy killed by a falling till in Topshop. Topshop is just frightening.
It is frightening, but it's something to think about. You know, when you've got youngsters of that age, they do tend to climb on things, and mums and dads, it's not safe.
No,
it really isn't.
Not.
And I speak as one whose parents were in retail trade for ages, and you would have pop-up display stands all over the place, and some of them are very, very heavy. So please be careful. Just be careful out there.
We missed something out in the obituaries section.
What did we miss out?
Sarah Coward, Caroline in The Archers, has died.
I didn't know that.
It's there in front of you.
Is it?
Sarah Coward, who died at the age of 69, was for 40 years was Caroline Sterling in The Archers. She lived at Grey Gables. She was one of the most popular characters, and she's died now as well. That's all I wanted to say. We're moving on.
Well, unfortunately, it's a bit like Coronation Street.
Why?
I don't watch Coronation Street, never listen to The Archers.
The Archers is terrible. The Archers is probably the worst thing ever perpetrated on the English public. It is absolutely appalling. They put it on twice a day. It is so bad that this is what the BBC do, right? They put it on twice a day, 7 days a week, 6 days a week, and then put it on for an hour and a half on a Sunday.
Oh, marvellous. I've got to say now that Dave Rhodes... and he's doing a grand job on the chat room, explaining to everybody where you are, where I am, and how to get in touch with RTI. Blah blah. He's being a public relations person.
Oh, very good, David. Thank you.
Yes, you are very good, David. Did I really say that?
Of you.
Did I say that?
Did you say what, dear?
That Dave was very good.
You said that, and I said I loved him.
I worry about you sometimes.
I only in the past. You notice it was in the past. I didn't say I love you. I said I loved you, like I hated you.
Coffee's good, by the way, boys and girls. Little bit of in-house news this week as well.
This is good.
This is actually really fun. Alongside, I feel like your PA. No, you don't look a bit like my PA.
Don't you talk about petrol like that.
Perhaps he means he wants to feel my PA. Oh, I didn't say that. I should just slap you, David. It's all right. Anyway, great news. RTI Gold is launching. Bye-bye. And this week, it's a plethora of great programmes from people...
It is.
Who've made these amazing shows, and the trouble with these great shows is they just get archived. One time several years ago, this great program with 60s music, 70s, 80s music, 90s was played, and then it disappears off into oblivion. And it's wrong because it takes such a long way to do it. And what we've done is we've collated all this stuff together from years and years and years, and put them together as a huge, great schedule. Leigh,
what?
I'm not supposed to tell you this. Dave's worried about you.
Why?
I don't know, but he just says, I'm worried about Leigh. I would be. I'd worry about him as well, Dave. We all do.
Come round and give me a cuddle if you wish. But that's made me even more worried now.
I'm nervous now.
No, you're not coming round to give me a cuddle.
No. He does do man hugs, though.
Who does, David?
No, you.
I've been told...
I've seen you do man... Now, don't deny it.
No, it's true. But I only do man hugs because I think we're going into a wrestling match and I'm fighting.
Ah, right, yeah. He does man hugs, boys and girls. We are definitely lacking Rachel this week because we need the producer who's not here. Anyway, back to the plot. So we've got this amazing show which starts off this very afternoon at 5 o'clock, or if you're listening to the repeat, you're listening to night tracks. Oh well, doesn't matter. I can't do this with a straight face. I've got to turn the chat room screen off in a minute. So anyway, it starts at 5 o'clock if you're listening live. If you're listening to the repeat, you're listening to Night Track, you'll go over to Night Tracks right now. It starts off with Jim Stevens and the Happy Hour, and that is the whole concept of the station. The whole station is happy. It doesn't do gold radio like some of these useless stations do, where they go, what they do, boys and girls, is they put a young person's voice on, which is fine, I have no problem. And then this is what they say, I'm sort of paraphrasing. Hello, you old person listening to this radio station. That track that I don't know anything about, which is why I talked all over the lyrics, was from 1972 when you were young. Now you're listening to it and you're really old person and you're going to die soon. Oh, and that's all the hits and memories, which is the tagline that they'll use. So what they do is they just insult everybody. Now, that is really wrong. It's very bad. It's unprofessional, in my opinion, as well. And our guys don't. And the guys that we have on there, like we have Steve Marshall doing breakfast for us every day. Unfortunately, you get a bit of me. But
you do quite a lot on there.
I do a fair bit. But there again, I've been doing it for a fair bit of time.
He has, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Far too long, I think. Anyway, and we've got Kat Andrews, who used to be at BBC Radio 2, but of course that's lost its way completely now. So he's on every day. We've got the wonderful Chris Day doing Pirate Memories every evening. There's just some amazing shows. Go and look at rti.fm and you'll see the whole schedule there. At the moment, it's just a little montage. That's a good word. Montage.
It's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept, actually.
It is happy radio.
Yeah, this happy logo all strikes me as not being like... It's as if we're forcing happiness on people. But actually, if you go and listen to RTI Gold, it actually does do happy.
It does what it says on the can.
Without being twee or...
No, you don't have to be twee or...
just happy. There's nothing wrong with happiness.
I'm going to be Barbie now. But you can do positive...
You're worried about me, Dave?
You can do positive radio. Stop it. We need a producer. Quick, come back on straight in, put the fire out.
Get the uncle out. Come on.
Yeah, go.
That's terrible.
And you can do it. And do you know what's really funny about it?
Nothing.
People don't like me for it.
Don't they?
No.
Why?
They're really upset we're doing a gold station. And one bloke actually said, right, that's it then, I'm closing down.
Oh, yes, I know about this.
It's ridiculous.
What's wrong with people?
I have no idea. My attitude to competition is up your game. If somebody wants to compete...
Radio.
Exactly. And if you don't want to go into a competitive area, certainly don't go into radio or television, because it is competitive. You know, you've got to do what you want to do, and if someone's doing it better than you, you improve what you're doing. It's logical.
Absolutely. That is a maxim for living. That's how you should live your life.
Exactly. And it really does get me. Anyway, we've got to take a short break. One of those quickie ones.
We've not even started the show yet.
Oh, no, never mind, eh?
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
I'd like you to meet Eliane. She's 6 months pregnant. As a mum myself, I know she should be looking forward to her new arrival. But Eliane is worried. Every day the walk to fetch water is getting harder. Every drink of the filthy water could make her ill. Every lift of her bucket hurts her more. You can help bring clean water to a mum like Eliane. Text the word water to 70444 to give WaterAid £3. WaterAid has the expertise to bring clean water to Eliane's village. They just need your support. I've seen for myself the difference clean water can make. So please help keep Eliane and her unborn baby safe. Text water to 70444 to give WaterAid £3 now. Thank you.
If your dream holiday is 2 hours from the UK, perfect for children and teenagers, young couples and the older visitor, ideal for the physically active and for those who just want to unwind, Aqua City is the destination for you. Described by the Travel Channel as the place that will soon be on everybody's lips, be ahead of the crowd and the envy of your friends, but still enjoy a home from home. Come to Aqua City Poprad, the world's leading green resort.
From the heart of Europe to the world, RTI.
That'll be us then. That jingle package for people like Dave is going to change soon, but I can't tell you what it is. It's top secret, but it's lovely. Lovely, 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 lovely. It's
excuse me,
what?
After that performance,
yes,
after that repetitive performance of lovely, lovely, lovely,
yes,
which nobody understood.
Right.
That's like him sending her things and wanting to rap. That's a rap of an old man. Dave J. Rhodes has just written to me personally, privately.
Uh-oh.
He says, I'm very worried about Eric. I have been for years, you know.
What?
He says he's very worried about you.
Right. Yeah, but I've been worried about me for the same time.
I know, and I've said, we all have been worried about him, but he keeps escaping and coming back on the air.
I know. I'm going to rant now.
Are we having a rant?
Yes, I'm going to rant on behalf of people that use Southern Rail.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. It's very strange. Go on then, have a rant.
Well, there's been this ongoing dispute for a very, very, very long time between Southern Rail over how many people should be on the train. And I understand I understand all the emergency thingies, blah, 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 blah. I get it. And so there's no argument. So what happens is that the union, ASLEF, does a deal with the rail company and they both agree on it. They stick it to a vote and the staff say, no, bugger off. Now,
they didn't say that.
But they said no then.
Yes, that's better.
Hmm.
You should be ashamed of yourself for saying that word.
Well, it gets my goat.
Don't put the goat and that word together.
No, I won't. No. But the fact is, it's not their lives they're playing with when they go on strike. It's the lives of ordinary people who are messed about. And I'll tell you what else is going to happen, members of ASLEF.
Are you saying that people shouldn't have the right to strike?
Not at all. But I'm saying they should think about their customers.
And what's the alternative? So they have a think about the customers, then they go on strike.
They go on strike, and what they don't get is the customers are very, very upset with them. The second thing that will happen is that in the modern world, more and more people will start home working. And the more that home work, the less go on the train. What's bleeping? Oh, it's the studio next door. Sorry. Oh, dear. Anyway, the more people will work from home, therefore, you will have less people using the trains. The less people that use the trains, the less money you can earn as a train driver or guard or whatever else you do on the railway lines. So by going on strike, unless you think about it, and have really solid reasons for doing it, all you're going to do is alienate your customers, because the passengers are your customers, guys, and eventually they'll go, OK, we'll find another way of doing this, and we'll work from home, we'll go up when you're not on strike.
Excuse me.
What?
Are you saying that ASLEF does not have a valid reason to take industrial action in this case?
Well, I think they did have, and I think it was resolved, which is why the union proposed the new vote, having resolved the issue. But then some of the members clearly said no. And I don't necessarily think that they are actually thinking about their customers. And what they do is they think company, not customer. Do you get my drift?
I get your drift, but ASLEF would say that they are actually thinking about their customers, because basically the row is about removing, having one-man trains.
Yes.
So the driver will actually shut the doors instead of it being somebody else on the train, and that. Actually, ASLEF say we are thinking about the customers because we don't want this to happen because it will endanger our customers.
Now, I get that, but if you go around the UK, there are hundreds of places where one-man trains operate. Yeah. And at night time, if you go up into Bedfordshire, you will have one-man trains. There's no guard. There's just the driver. So that kind of dilutes the argument a little bit. I understand where some of the guys are coming from on Southern, because these trains are really, in my opinion, overcrowded. But, you know, there's got to be some way in which you can resolve the matter, because ultimately, in the old days, you used to have a fireman on a train. You don't have a fireman.
He's out in Australia putting out the internet.
Well, that's right. You don't have a fireman on a train anymore. Why? Because modern technology took over. It took over.
They don't shovel coal into a big hole and set it on fire.
So, you know, I'm sorry, that's the way the world works. So I think really the members should be actually thinking a little bit about their customers, not the company, own future. And their own future, because they, you know, it's like so many things. I mean, I know this is miles away from it, Leigh, but do you remember the old video stores years ago?
Yes.
You went to hire a video, and their big thing was, you know, ha, 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 it's cheaper to come and hire a video from us than go to the cinema. Yes. Ha, 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 ha. And then the cinema companies went, or the film companies went, oh, we'll have some TV channels that you can subscribe to then. And they put people out of business. They all went out of business.
Right, exactly.
And so you've got to think a little bit. But that's my rant over.
I'm going to have a rant next.
Why?
Well, unless you missed this story out.
What story?
I'm not telling you that it's classified.
I didn't miss it out at all. I actually spelt it wrong, though. That's the thing. Yeah, I put "from the USA" on the screen. It should be "from the USA." Never mind.
Yes, yeah, I'm glad he pointed that out.
I did, because otherwise he would have done and made a big thing about it. Where Mr. Trump said, "I'm not telling you that; it's classified." And when I found out who's leaking classified documents, blah blah blah, he went on to another rant. And do you know what? I agree with him.
What, you agree with him? In what way?
That you shouldn't leak classified documents out to the general public.
You're absolutely 100% right. In a totalitarian world, that must never ever happen. And in a totalitarian world, the leader of the most powerful country in the world should not talk to the press. He should condemn the press, and he should only tell the people what he wants the people to know by using social media. This man is a genius. He is bringing the world to its knees by doing what he sees is right. What an absolutely fabulous leader this man is.
He doesn't leak classified documents on Twitter.
He doesn't, but the problem is what happens when you get a totalitarian state being created by a madman.
But it's not everything. It's not what he's saying. And I saw too. I don't know if you saw the.
Did I finish what I was saying then, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think I did.
I'm being a totalitarian person now.
You are.
I sat and watched this in awe, to be quite honest, because I'm going, I can't believe all this.
No, it's just unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. But then I got it. And I really did. And I tell you what.
You understand Trump. I understand Trump 100%.
And I've seen this before.
We have, all over the place.
Yeah, I've seen it before. And do you know who the last person to react like that was?
No.
Tony Blair.
Well, totally, yes,
And he sat there in the room in front of me. And at the time when he was in Slovakia, there was a big argument about teaching and how the teachers were being treated in the UK. And there were strikes going on various things. And this guy from the Times newspaper, I remember, from the Times newspaper said, Mr. Blair, blah, 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 teachers, blah, 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 teachers, blah, blah, blah. And he turned to me and said, if you think you've come all the way to Bratislava from the UK to ask me a question about the UK, which has no bearing whatsoever on the meeting I'm having with the Slovak Prime Minister, you're dreaming. Next question. And he dismissed it, and he was right.
No, he wasn't right.
He is right, because, and I'm not a Blair fan either, but Tony Blair in that circumstance was right. The subject was about Slovakia, not about the UK. Now, my question to Mr. Blair was referencing students in Slovakia that were going to the UK, and how could he ensure that those students from Slovakia would be looked after in the UK. And he went off into one. Huge answer. Marvellous. Because it was relevant.
Yeah, but yes, I agree with you. In a totalitarian world, then everything should be the way it is. And people with an interest in other things should not stick their hand up and ask a question in circumstances where that is considered to be wrong. No, everything should
it's like asking him what football team he likes.
It's like what, dear?
It's like asking him what football team he likes. It's not relevant.
Well, it might be relevant. You might be working on a football paper. Mr. Blair might have interest. Whether the question is right or wrong does not mean that a world leader has the right to condemn somebody for asking a question.
That he said they were asking for more classified data, and he said no.
But it's not the fact it's classified data. If this man was straightforward and gave everything to the world that it needed, then yes, you might have a point of view. But this man is
now, I agree. But the trouble with me and you, and you're as guilty as me.
I'm not guilty.
Yes, you are. We would do things like ask as I did once, a senior public figure, who will remain nameless. I said, how did it go at the NATO conference? And he replied, I can't tell you anything about it. And I got what I deserved.
I don't think you did. I think a prime example of this is when I asked a leading politician in a public arena why he was molesting young boys. And I think I had every right to ask that politician why he was molesting young boys in a public arena. Donald Trump wouldn't like me to ask anything like that. Tony Blair wouldn't like me to ask anything like that, because, remember,
but that's not classified.
It's a warmonger.
That's not classified data.
Trump is round the bend. You can only use leaking classified information is a way of telling people what is going on. Very often it can be malicious. Very often it can be absolutely something that the world needs. And for a madman to say, I will not deal with the fake press, which means everybody from the BBC to me and CNN and every traditional form of news outlet, he will not deal with them. He will not use that to express what is happening in his...
I've got a solution. I've got a solution.
Tell them exactly what he wants them to know and nothing else. There is not. This is a totalitarian state.
I've got a solution. I've got a solution. I've got it. It's just gone light bulb moment. It has really. What do you do? What was the standing joke? If you've got a very strong shop steward in a union,
yes,
what you do is you upgrade him to foreman. And that shuts him up, right?
What, you're going to upgrade him to be? God.
No. I'm going to be the world president.
Yes.
And you're going to be the world president's public relations person.
Well, did you see the world's president's public relations person on television last night?
We haven't got one.
Interviewed by the BBC, where he sneered, he laughed, he insulted, he attacked, he denigrated, he ripped everything apart that was good with the sneer of a redneck on his face.
Oh. But you didn't take the job, did you?
Yeah, just talking about being the.
Can I throw this open to the chat room? Anybody got any views on this? Because
tell us.
Is Mr. Trump right to not share sort of, I don't know, something that, because classified to me can be something quite tame through to something quite important. Now, the code for the nuclear weapons in the USA, to me, is very important. It's classified, and it should never be leaked to anybody. Never, ever, ever.
There would be no benefit to leaking it. There would be no benefit to leaking that, and nobody in the right mind would actually publish it or anything, because that would sound the end of the world. But if Donald Trump
all right, then, I'll give you another one. Let's see if I can get away with this one. You are a world leader, and you're going into a partial area where you've got these Daesh people at the moment killing everybody, and you want to go and support your troops and give them a moral boost. Now, the last thing you would do is actually tell these nutters that you're going there to support your troops, rather like John Major got chastised for doing it. But he didn't tell us he was going. Well, of course he didn't. It was classified.
That's right. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because what happens is that him being there is covered in a traditional fashion. But in fact, if somebody found out that Trump was going out to somewhere like Iraq to talk to his people or whatever, and I think because Trump has tried to turn democracy on its head and destroy the very vestiges of it, that actually he is fair game for anything that anybody in the media is wanting. That's
Leigh's opinion. I still think there should be classified stuff, but that's my opinion.
There is classified stuff. Of course there's classified stuff. And there are still notices going around, D-notices and things like that fly around. And that's where the trust between the press and the government, say, or the press and the police, works. But when we got to
move on. We got to get some more stories in. So is Mark Zuckerberg now building up and starting his campaign to be the next president of the US of A? And why do I say that? He issues a 5,000-word essay on the future of social media and global economies. And he's sucking up to everybody, the white-collar workers, the blue-collar workers, talking about beneficial things for this and beneficial things for that. And the funny thing is, and I was telling somebody this morning, he will be at an age at the next election where he can stand for president. Because before
how old have you got to be?
35.
Yeah, I really genuinely didn't know that. You've got to be 35 to stand for
it's
president of the United
35
States.
for president. If you want to be a senator, it's 30. And if you want to be House of Representatives person, it's 25.
Fascinating. Can I just... Dorothy's just sent us a message.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
And she's just described Mr. Trump as a mean-minded nincompoop.
Don't hold back, Dorothy. Don't you hold back at all, darling. You say it as it is. Anyway, we move on because
I need to say something on Mark Zuckerberg.
Go on then.
Well, he's the man who basically set up this global community, isn't he? He was the prime mover in the global community. And actually, I think it's quite fascinating and straightforward and proof of an honest man in a position of incredible power, where he says that globalization actually isn't working properly and we need to look at it again.
Yeah, well, that's right. But he's actually putting something forward. Whereas Roger Walters has got another way of approaching the whole thing. He doesn't like Mr. Trump, so he's suggesting that what he will do. I'm going to have to get my eyes done, Leigh.
Well, yes.
Because I can't read it very well. I'll do your message in a minute, Michael. And what he's planning to do is actually perform on the border between the US and Mexico as an act of defiance against Mr. Trump.
I bet he's going to play the wall.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, he did that in Germany, didn't he?
Well, that's it. He's turning into status quo, isn't he? And only got one song now, haven't you, Roger?
Right, hang on. If I move my microphone across... That's it. Hang on.
Anthony, you can move your mug.
I'll move my mug. Trump is so out of his depth. Things like weapon codes should be kept safe. But when Trump and his cronies have dealings with Russia, we should know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Well,
Who's this?
That's Michael.
Well said, Michael.
He just writted that.
Did he? By Jove.
By Jove.
That's how education works, isn't it?
By Jove, it does work. Harrison Ford was panicking because he landed his plane yet again. He's
upside down.
I don't know whether a man should be flying a plane at 74 years old.
Well, not when he's got a history of crashing it, no.
Tony Blair is upsetting the planet again because he's now telling people to rise up and stop Brexit. This is the man that was hugging the president of the EU.
Yeah, this is the man who took us to war, who lied, who cheated, who did everything he could to destroy what we had as a country, is now attacking the basic principles of democracy again. What a wonderful piece.
Well, whatever. He reckons he's going to be able to do something. Be interesting.
He can't do anything.
It will be interesting to see if he can.
What can he do?
Well, the thing is, you know, the great British man, and woman,
yes,
both the same. You can push them once, you can push them twice, yes. But when you push them the third time, yes, 2 anvil-sized hammers come back of you on the end of arms in the shape of fists. Because when they fight back on the third push, it hurts.
But what's the third push? Are you saying that Blair is the third push? Do you think that people will defend democracy?
I think people could say, potentially, that the original vote was not voted on in the correct manner.
Yeah, why? How?
Because both sides were actually telling porky pies.
Well, there you have the basics of democracy.
There you go. Social care for elderly people is facing complete collapse, according to a new report.
And so it should.
This is a study by Age UK, and it comes out, and this is another one that really gets up my nose. They talk about it as if it's a now thing. It is not a now thing. It has nothing to do, and I don't care what party is in power as of this day today, it is not singularly that party. Do you know why? Because this was known 30 years ago, and nobody did anything about it. And in 30 years, you've had all 3 main political parties in control in the UK. Not one of them's done anything about it. So you can't do it the way people are coming along and doing it now.
Because it was a big earner. The problem is everybody's got so greedy. Listen, just a very quick example of what happens within social care in Britain today. And I feel that people will be shocked by this. When Andrea, my illustrious wife Andrea's mother, went into care, literally, I am not exaggerating. This is not fake news. This is the truth. Within 20 minutes of her going into a home, Andrea was phoned up by social care, by social services, and asked to put her mother's house on the market immediately. Then they phoned her brother
to pay for the care,
and then they phoned her brother, who's a pensioner, and asked him to contribute. I think it was about £150 a week towards his mother's care.
Well, what did she pay money in each week for then?
Absolutely, exactly the point. This is a massive, big business which has been ripping off old people and families for decades, like you've said.
Yep.
And finally, somebody has actually stood up and said, "Look at this! This is disgusting."
Yep, couldn't agree with you more. Hello, I don't know, Desire 12. This is another appalling. I'm so ranting this week. A serial shoplifter who's 44 was spared jail. Right, he was told by the magistrate, "It's okay, you don't have to go to Nick," because if he sent him to prison, it wouldn't allow him to go on the Jeremy Kyle show.
I know, and why would anybody want to print that? Those kind of stories shouldn't be printed. Shoplifter Dean Grundle should have his privacy respected, particularly when he wants to go on telly and talk about drug addiction and how he gets past it, and then he's going to go to jail afterwards. This is a ridiculous...
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that the magistrates let him get away with it.
Absolutely, that's what's ridiculous about it.
Oh, unbelievable. He was let off an 18-week sentence.
Nobody's got to do it after. He's just been let off it so he can go on the telly and tell people about drug addiction.
No, he's getting a suspended sentence.
Right, I'm just reading it.
Magistrates also sentenced Grundle to an 18-week suspended sentence due to his potential rehabilitation.
I misread that. I apologise to all the ladies and gentlemen. I misread it. But yes,
we run on. A motorist has been branded a hero while the police hate him after parking his car. Right, get this. So you got to picture this. There's a speed camera.
Yep.
And the speed camera in North Yorkshire, it's in Skelton actually, was clicking people and they were getting nicked. So what he did was he parked his car, quite legally as it goes, in front of the camera, and he opened the boot lid, or trunk as you call it in America. He opened the trunk, the boot lid, in front of the camera so the camera couldn't nick anybody else.
Exactly, what a hero. What a hero.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a personal experience of this as well?
You can if you wish.
I'm just doing a little cough. No, I'm fine. So, yes, what happened here, we had speed cameras in our village. Now, it was decided that they would put the speed cameras at the top end of the village where there's no traffic, because the traffic comes into the village from a road which is halfway down the village. So we said, go and park your van outside on the pub car park next door. The pub blokes agreed to it, that's fine. And he said, oh, no, we can't do that. So why is that? He said, because of health and safety. If we go down that end of the village, it's too dangerous. So the only place where we're safe is up the top end where there's no traffic.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And that's what yes, people speeding is wrong.
Health and safety lot are wrong as well.
Yeah, but people who actually put these cameras there are doing it not for the health and safety of the people, they're doing it for money.
Once upon a time, a lady walked into an office I had in the UK, and the first words she said, before telling me who she was, she said, is the proprietor here? So the lady in the front office came and got me, and she came out and she said, what's that cable doing on the floor? And I said, what's it got to do with you? She said, I'm the health and safety inspector. I said, yes, and what's it got to do with you? We are putting that cable across there because the young lady's very cold. She's not feeling very well. So we put a little fan heater there to warm her up because it makes her feel better.
Yes.
And she said, it's not allowed. So I said, why is that? She said, it's health and safety rules. I said, right, but for whom? Your employees. We don't have any employees. What do you mean you don't have any employees? There's people working here. Yes, they're all self-employed. They work for themselves. This is like a cooperative of companies, all in one building. Which it was. And so there was lots of, people that would normally work from home but find it difficult, needed an office of some calibre, so we all got together and shared this space. And this woman was absolutely... I got a torrent of abuse from her. And then she said, that's disgusting that you're letting these people do this. You should employ them all and give them proper pension rights and everything. I said, they give proper pension rights, for goodness sake. What the heck?
Yeah, the government gives it them. Health and safety people are very strange.
Yes, it didn't last very long, boys and girls, as we reported sort of near enough a year ago. Playboy was dumping its nudie bits, so blokes couldn't look at naughty bits in the Playboy. And guess what's happening in March and April issue?
It's coming back.
Naughty bits are coming back again. So there you go. It's all safe to go and...
But it's only upstairs apparatus that's coming back, not downstairs apparatus.
Yes, this is very, very true. Hello, Tony Prince. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Tony.
Headmistress. This is the last one because we've got a minute left, literally. She was forced to take early retirement because she was outed as a naturist. And guess where our Dave lives?
What, not in this woman?
No, he lives just a couple of kilometres from a naturist place.
Does he indeed? Is that David J. Rhodes?
Yes.
And does he go doing naked
I
things?
don't. Far from me to comment.
David, tell us.
Yeah,
Tell us,
far
you've got
from
about
me
a
to
minute
comment.
left.
And that's it. Anyway, Leigh, this poor lady who was outed was asked to take early retirement. She was forced to leave her job. She's enjoyed naturism for over 20 years, and now she's actually helping promote it. And I think we'll do the last 30 seconds of the show with no clothes on.
Hang on, I'm just getting them off now.
That'll do then. You've got to say goodbye.
Well, thank you for joining us, and bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
We'll see you next week. Don't forget the launch of RTI Gold at 5 o'clock this afternoon with Jim Stevens. Coming up next, we've got Kilty K here on RTI. It's going to be an absolutely fab week, I'll tell you. It's going to be a fab week. Until next week, don't go away.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.